Please read the intro.
Hello everyone. Let's start with the session um, for the this particular program, the Upskilling program. Is sponsored by our company, where we are upskilling general audience onto different platforms, different skills. This is part one. There are different parts coming in. So just look forward for your emails and everything. Be there, and there'll be more trainings coming in. Okay. Before we start with the session, and before we take on to the main part of the training, very important thing, on your screen there's a Q&A section. Okay. At any point of time, if you feel you have any question, just drop in. Okay. We might take up that questions in between, or we might take those questions afterwards. Okay. But we'll take those questions for sure. We'll try and proceed the session in such a way that we have a few minutes left at the end of the session. This is a two-part session. Okay. So the part one deals with part one will deal with a specific set of services within Power Platform, and the part two will deal with another set of services. Okay. We'll come to that. We'll view each one of them. We'll review each, and we'll make sure that we are not just sticking to these slides. We'll do the training session. We'll see one of our products. Through that, we'll try and understand what different services, how different services work, what different services are involved, what their role are, and so on. Okay. So proceeding further with the session, let's quickly know about us. Okay, so on the bottom left corner you have the QR code. You can view later on as well, but quick summary. So we are a team of Microsoft certified developers. Okay, so we feel proud and we take pride in that 100% of our technical staff is Microsoft certified. We make sure it's not a mandatory hiring criteria, but we make sure that if the person is in, he or she needs to get that certification done within a month or two of their joining, so that for the end user, we can deliver the best products. And as a tagline says, we could be subtle and powerful while doing the development. And we make sure that we do it each and every time. Okay. So different services that we have to offer here is we can help you with the setting up of an offshore development team. Also, we can help make you sense of data. Okay. We do data analytics for you. That's just don't involve the Power BI or the simple dashboarding. It could be data warehousing for you, setting up the entire data factory for you, and the complete data analytics part, whether it's a data scientist role or whether it's a data analytics role, all of them is done by us. We do corporate trainings as well. And okay, that brings me to an important point. If you are in this session, you have registered as an individual attendee. But what you can also do is you can also request a group training for your organization. The link should be available on our LinkedIn page on our website as well. So you can request group training or drop us an email on the contact us at sbPowerDev.com for that particular group training. And we will be more than happy to take a free group sessions on this particular topic and the other topics that will be included as part of the upskilling session. Also, we do business application, cloud business application. One of the examples that we are using product in-house will come across you as well. Application development is a different vertical altogether. The business application different vertical. We are giving good amount of importance to the low-code development that we do, and also on-demand support. So we have a different packages, something where we can support you. Reach out to us. It's each package doesn't offer one single technology. It can be a bunch of different technologies under one single package. Only thing that you decide on to is how many hours per month you are looking to serve that support for. So don't forget to ping us in, connect with us. Free consultation sessions, link on the website, bottom left corner. Please scan it, view the link. And let's go ahead further. Okay, a little bit about me. So I've started this company. Again, my aim was very straightforward. I wanted to indulge into these good practices from the development standpoint of view. I came because I have more than 10 years of experience in IT industry now, and I came across many things that I felt were not working properly that motivated me to start this organization so that I can benefit the end user as well as I can benefit my skilling in the way that I could help deliver the complete solutions. What we have experienced previously is people focusing more on the money generally tends to leave out a certain space where they could ask you for more work. That is what the agenda is. We'll keep the closed cycle here for you. Also, I'm a data analyst. I am a functional consultant. I am an app maker, and I've been a Microsoft certified trainer for the last 3 years now. Here's a QR code linking to my profile. So please hop in all anytime, anywhere you want any help on any particular topic. If I can, I'll be more than happy to do it. Okay. Now the main topic. Okay. Power platforms. We all are here to understand what Power Platform is. Okay. And how does this work? We'll be focusing on the fundamentals of each and every services that are offered within this Power Platform. So, we'll try and understand what this Power Platform does for us, okay, and how it can help us in our daily day-to-day activities, which will not only be, let's say, a simple automation. It could be from a simple automation to a very complex automation, and it could be mobile application, desktop application. It could be an AI involved application. It could be anything. It could be an external facing application as well. It could be a chat, but it could be anything. But we'll see each one of them separately, but on a whole, what Power Platform is, you can basically define this word as a low-code platform offering from Microsoft, where Microsoft offers you different services and different tools, which can help you accelerate your digitalization and the automation growth by reducing the development time drastically. And I've seen the development changes coming down from 6 months to 6 weeks. That's a very good amount of time that one can save. One can easily accelerate in many companies. You can go across Microsoft website, you'll find different case studies, and we have a good amount of customers and the clients in the same field who are using this Power Platform and are upskilling, like scaling their work like anything. It's a very good thing that you should do. And the best thing about this is it is citizen developer friendly. Okay, it is meant to be initiated by citizen developers. So whether you are a subject matter expertise or whether you are you are not into technical things, you just do you could be part of HR team, you could be part of the finance team, you could be part of the non-technical teams of any color, any industry. Okay, it's very easy. It's designed to be driven by the citizen developers. It's a low-code thing. We'll see how easy it is to set up different workflows, how easy to set up, how easy to create the different application, and so on and so on. Okay. The main 5 services that we see here are Power BI, PowerApps, PowerAutomate, Power Virtual Agent, and PowerPages. As it suggests, Power BI is meant for the business analytics. PowerApps act as your app development service where you develop different apps. We'll see one of the application today as well. PowerAutomate helps you automate all the different tasks that are there within your organization. And then you have, so PowerAutomate basically acts as the workflow engine that is running behind and doing all the main actions in there. Then you have Power Virtual Agents. This is a low-code platform to build a chatbot. This is something we'll cover tomorrow, but you'll see is in 15 minutes you can get a chatbot ready. Okay, and that is very important. Once you understand you are SME, you understand the process. It is as good as dragging and dropping the different service, dragging and dropping different steps and different actions to create that chatbot. Okay. Now then we have the PowerPages. Okay. Now PowerPages can help you build the external facing websites on the low-code platform. That's what different 5 services are that falls in the Microsoft Power Platform. Now, in the backend, how these services are connected in terms of data and what are the add-on things that are available above this. So one of them is the data connectors. Okay, we'll see quickly today what the data connectors are. Then you have the AI Builder. AI Builder gives you different models, pre-built models to utilize within these applications. Good example could be invoice. Click the picture, it will read it for you. The model is already trained, already ready for use for bigger applications. Okay. Dataverse as the database engine running behind this. So again, a good topic. We'll cover the database later, but a good point for the Dataverse is this is based on common data model. So common data model was a model built in collaboration between multiple companies. If I'm not forgetting, please mind me, it's between Microsoft, HP, and there's another company. So that these the applications built on Dataverse can communicate with each other very effectively. Okay. For the database, there's a basic set of fields that are there. They're basic set of different rules and implications that are applied already on the database. That's how this database works. But at the end of the day, it's a database with a very good amount of expansion possibility along with the security, high level of security. We'll discuss that in detail tomorrow. Okay, let me quickly show you. So for this, okay, so today, day one, we'll be covering these, and day two, we'll be covering these. Okay, so day one, we'll be focusing on the Power BI, Power Apps, and the Power Automate, and the data connectors one. And then we'll be focusing on the day two. That is tomorrow. We'll be focusing on the virtualization, Power Pages, AI Builder, and the data flows. Okay. Again, question Q&A is open to everyone. You can post your question. Your question will not become public. We'll make it public for you. We'll answer it for you. Whether you want to do it now, whether you want to do it at the end, it's okay. At any point of time, you can post a question. Cool. Okay, so let's proceed further. Okay, let's quickly focus our efforts on understanding one of our products that will help you basically understand how this application works. Okay, how Power Apps work, how Power Automate works, and what are different things you can do, and then we'll focus on each one of the application, each product, and understand what is going in the backend or what is going behind in the scene. So, 1 second, please. Cool. So let's quickly see what we have here. Okay, I hope the application is visible to everyone now. We get rid of this presentation. Now we have the application. Okay. Now, first of all, what does TaskMinder do for you? So the TaskMinder basically have, and one of the important things that differentiate it from the other applications, that is the Taskmaster. Okay. So what we have done here is we have a specific set of defined tasks, which could vary and there could be different departments. You can set up the database to configure, have different departments, different cycles, different statuses. Now let's take an example of what we mean by master data. Master task. So master task here, what we do is we define what the task is, we define what the description is, which department does it belong to, who will be the approver, who will be the assigned, who this task needs to be assigned to. You can select more than one approvers, you can select more than one assigned to. You also select who all are, when do you want to start, what will be the task duration. By task duration, we mean within what time the end user should target to complete this task, and then when do you want to repeat this task, whether you want to repeat this task monthly. So if we see the cycle option, we have annual, biannual, custom. We can do custom as well, whether you want to, let's say, put in 16 days, 15 days, depending upon your business process, whether you want to do it monthly, quarterly. So you can select any option, and you can then also define if in case the task being assigned to a certain individual is not completed within that duration, then it needs to be escalated to. Okay, and also again, you can active or inactive the task. If the task is active, then in that case, it will, after every 7 days, it will create a new task and assign. In this case, like cycle we have mentioned weekly. So in this case, what it will do is it will create a new task assigned to the end user who is defined under assigned to. Again, as I told you, assigned to can be multiple as well. So all of them will get a separate task not a single task, they're a separate task. And then once the task is assigned to them, we'll see, then they work on that and we'll see how that part works. But now this is a master task. Once we save it, and let's say I go back to the list. So all of these are the master tasks. Some of them, so if I want to, let's say there are multiple filters here. If I want to filter on the basis of state, basis on the status, whether it's active or inactive, I can do that. I can see what all are inactive, and then I can specifically see what are active on as well. I can see department-wise as well, what all different departments are there. And let's say I want to see master tasks for IT department. Okay, these are the two master tasks for the IT department. And again, you can create multiple master tasks so that it gets scheduled and assigned to the end user every time without you doing it. Okay, so it purposefully solves a bigger problem, bigger picture here, where let's say you do okay, audit is one of the primary example and one of the best example. Audit asks you to do a certain set of tasks every month. Okay, and let's say it's a general tendency. Once we are working on a specific task, once we are doing a daily work, we generally there's a good chance we might forget about these tasks. Okay, and someone, let's say HR, has to get some information from the IT team. Let's say attendance every month. Okay, attendance every month. What they can do is HR can have one of the tasks created and get it scheduled for 30 days. Okay, so after every 30 days, it's automatically on the first of every or on the 25th or whatever day you want to do. On that particular date, it automatically gets to the IT team. IT responds with the task completion and it gets approved and so on. So that will understand the cycle further. Okay, these are different cycles, and yes, you can search for the task name and the task ID to filter it. Okay. On the left-hand side, slab navigation helps you go across different phases of this application. Now, let's, okay. It could be one scenario as well, one scenario where you don't have a specific scheduled task, but it came up immediately. Again, taking an example of audit, auditor says this particular information is missing, and your manager, you as a manager, want to assign this task to a specific individual, and you want to track all that information. That is where the new tasks come in. You can simply add, let's say, you can simply put in as audit task information. Let me quickly get rid of this audit task. Then let's say missing people info. Then department, let's say we go for the department is HR. It's an HR task, and then we go for, let's say, approver. Sake of since I'm the only one who is presenting and working on this demo, let me quickly assign this task to myself. Let's shift to the other part. So I'm the approver. I'll be the person approving this, and I'll be the person assigned to as well. Due, let's say we want to mark the due date as 26th. Okay, and then if it doesn't go anywhere, then I want to escalate it to myself as well. Okay, so okay, now I can go ahead and quickly create that task. Done. Sure. My adopt task is created. Now I'm on the main task list, and if I refresh this on top, I'll be able to see a task for myself. So this is the task that have been created, that we have just created, the audit task. Okay. Now this audit task, this is how the screen where you work further with the task views like. Okay, so this is the section on the left hand side. What you see is the task details. On the right hand side, what you see is where you can comment and save your progress. Okay. Also, before that, this complete application is a responsive application. So why is it important to know this is a responsive application? Because it can adjust to any screen size. Okay, whether the screen size asks us to, let's say, let's do it this way. Let's see different screen sizes that we can go for. So now, if you see here, we are viewing this application for one of the Apple devices. Okay, so this adjusts the application screen size ratio, and all the items get adjusted accordingly. Again, entire thing is built on a low-code platform, PowerApps, and all the different functionalities are here. This is how this page, the second page we were viewing, looks like. In this page, what we have done is we have hidden the details, but the details are visible by clicking on that particular eye icon. Okay, where I can view the details, I can quickly close in, then I can put in my comments. Okay, so comment one thing and off comes. Okay, I can quickly save those comments, and also I can add, let's say, a file to it as well. So this is the local my local PC, but on your mobile it will open the adequate file explorer as well. So once you're done with it, you quickly upload this, and once uploaded, it's not just one single application. You can one single file, but you can view multiple files, and you can attach multiple files at the same point of time. Okay, so let's exit this. Now also, yes, we do mark the completion status. Let's say at this page, it is only 30% complete. Okay. Now for this particular one, if we go back, what we'll see is that it shows the progress as well. Similarly, you can see the progress across different items. If it has not been started, then it is a sign. If it is in progress, then it will show what the current progress is. Will come completed status will come, and there is an also let me see there's another status as submitted, where once you send it for, let's say you've completed your work, you are sending this for the approval. Okay. That's where the approval, once it is approved, it goes into the submitted stage. We'll quickly see that example as well. There are other different filters as well. So let's say there's a due today, there's no item due today. I want to see overdue items. This is being highlighted with a separate color, and so on and so on. Okay. And even if I, let's say, selected something, and here I don't have, I can, on a one single click, I can revert all the filter changes that are there, and come to view the all filter one. So this is all the statuses. Let's do quickly one thing, since we have marked this. And if you see in the comments, it requires the time as well as the date. So let's quickly add another comment. Comment to view how it looked like. Okay, so once I add this, you'll see this will get stacked up. So the more comments I add onto this page, the more of them. Okay. So you can view all the past history here, all the comments and everything. Attachments are attached here. Let's say I have completed this work. Okay. So let me save my completion. Then what I do is I submit this. What it will do is it will send this task for the approval to the person who was assigned as the approver. Okay. Now what we have done with this one is another important thing. The notifications are configured both in the Teams and the Outlook. It's not just Teams, not just single Outlook. So if you are, so as an end user, how useful it is for you if you get all the notifications within the team and all the important notifications both on the team and on the email as well. So we'll see how we are doing it. We'll understand how this works. So again, this is just a demo for the application to show you how things work. And then at the back end, we'll see how this have been actually built, what have been done, and so on and so on. We'll not get into much technical details, but have a high understanding of what it does. Okay. Now, this has been created. So the moment this has been done, what you'll see here is, so on the here, what you have is you have a new task has been assigned to you. Please find the task details below. So this task has been assigned to you. Now, if I go here, it must show up approval as well. Okay, this approval comes with the attachment builder. Okay, so whatever attachment I've attached will come as part of this approval. Okay, so I can quickly review. Let's say I did find this particular one to be apt. Okay, so still missing information, and I go ahead and reject this one. Okay, so again, what you'll immediately see on the left hand side, I have sent a failure notification to me as well. Okay, so your task has been rejected. Okay, and these are the different comments. What are who was the responder, who rejected it, for what reason, everything in one single table. Okay. Now, if we quickly see the application once again, once we go inside, what we'll see is, okay, let me refresh this first. Once we have refreshed this data, it has been moved to the assigned status again. Okay. Now, if we see here on the top, it says that it has been rejected and what were the comments while this particular one was rejected. Okay, so it mentions, it recorded each and every information along the line. Okay. Now, okay, let's say no, I have cross-checked, and let's say I go ahead and add another attachment. Okay, so let's say I have this, and here I go back and I submit again. Okay, that's rejection and submit closed loop. Okay, that's what we are trying to achieve, a closed loop. Let's say this is completed. And now what we'll do here is, again, on the teams once we see, there'll be another approval here. So, okay, there is a 1 minute latency once we get with the approvals. Till that time, let me quickly show you how this approval notifications on the email will look like to you. Okay. So this is the email notification once a new task has been assigned to you. Okay, so it shows the department name, it shows all the details and the other stuff. Also, what it has is okay. So this is the one we get in case of a rejection. Okay, so who rejected this? So all these notifications flow in both the directions. Not just for the approval, for rejection as well. You get this, and this is how this approval will look on the email. Okay, so we have done this again. Now you see both the other attachment is coming as well. So not just one, but two attachments are coming along with this now, but how many attachments you attach will come along with this. So it's not just one, two, whatever it is. This is there. Now let's say I want to approve this. Okay, I add good job. Now let's approve this. Okay, I've submitted my approval. Now this approval runs in sync with with the teams as well. Okay, so it's the same approval. Okay, so the moment you'll see, so this is right now this is 636 and it has been approved. Okay, once it is approved, one more important thing that we have here is you can have the entire thing saved as a PDF. Okay, so if I want to see what that particular approval, whom it went to, and who approved this, so I can quickly have this as reported and as recorded on the email, on the PDF itself. Again, this is one of the important things that we need during the audits. I hope everything so far is clear how this tool works. Again, and this is not an endorsement for the tool. This is to know you how this is an internal tool that we are using. This is to make you familiar with how things work within the application. Now we have seen the notification. Now we have seen different things. Let's come back to the technical part of it. How does it work? Okay. So let's quickly jump back from here and seen the doc one, we've seen the master one. Okay. So in the back end, this is how the PowerApps Designer looks like. Okay. Before I jump to this application, okay. Before that, let's understand how. Okay. Now what we saw here was in this particular application, the data was flowing. Okay. Now in this, what we saw was the data was flowing from Teams, from Outlook, you're doing in the Power Apps, and all the data is synced. And the moment you do a button click, it goes across the different applications, pushes a notification in the Teams, and also it records the data backend in the database. Just for the general reference, in this case, data we are using as a SharePoint. If you are not aware of the SharePoint, it could be any database. We use it for our convenience and the client requirement that was there. So that is why, but it could be any database. It's not just SharePoint. Now, okay. This brings me to the main question: how the data is flowing across different applications. Now, if we see how data flows, if you want to understand, the part for the Power Platform, which we initially saw covers this, is the data connectors. The data connectors, these are very important. Okay. Now, again, Microsoft have many different services. Okay? It includes Outlook, it includes Teams, it includes Excel, it includes PowerPoint as well, and many different Azure. As many applications are there. SharePoint is there, as I mentioned. Dynamics is there. So all these applications, how do they talk to each other? How do they come into each other's connection within the Power Platform? Okay. Apart from Microsoft application, any different services, okay, Twitter, YouTube, all different services, how do we make sure that they come in contact? So if you see on the slide, the icons may be small, just bear with me. So it's the Adobe one as well, it's the Azure Identity. Then there are a couple of other tools that are being offered here as a connection. So now, how does these connection work? It's a very important thing to understand. Okay, so now let's understand it in this way. Okay, let me have my whiteboard here. Okay, now for this particular one, data connection. Okay, let's assume we have an application one. Okay, and application two. Application one in our case is SharePoint. Okay. And application two in our case is PowerApps. Now, how do PowerApps connect to SharePoint? Okay. This connection is facilitated by connectors. Okay. So if we quickly see here, I'll be jumping between different screens. So don't worry, this is more for live demo and not recording. So there'll be many screens changing. So I hope you are comfortable with that. So these are the list of different connectors that are there. Okay, and one of them is SharePoint. Now, the main question now said, okay, what all applications it can support? If you're using any third-party application, does that include that third-party application? And does that third-party application have a database here or not? The database list is more than 600 plus. Okay, so generally, all the applications that you might be using on a daily basis are from Trello to Jira. All of them are generally covered. Okay, and if they are not, then will come. Then they are custom connectors. Okay, to understand what custom connectors are. But before that, let's quickly create one connection to understand how do we create connections. So okay. So make.PowerAutomate, the website that you are seeing here. So the entire work that we are doing here is generally done online. There is no specific desktop tool that we use to do it. We can do within the teams as well, all the development work and everything, but Power Platform Services, all these tools are available online. As on the website, you can go whatever device you're using, if it is as internet accessibility, you can work from there and you can use these devices, use this services. Sorry. So let's quickly create a new connection. Just for everyone's sake, I'll take the SharePoint only. It asks me whether I want to create a cloud directly or an on-premise one. So what I'll do is I'll quickly create a cloud one SharePoint online. We are creating this connection for the SharePoint online. What it does is it asks me to verify my credentials. That's how the pop-up will look like to you. It is asking me to verify my credentials. So I'll quickly verify these credentials now. And what you'll see is a new SharePoint connection has been created here. So now this connection is created. Okay, now question comes in how this connection works. Okay, we have created this connection. Now, what is there in the backend? And okay, you'll not find this as part of what I'm going to tell you now is a part of that information that is generally not available and generally not known or not discussed across different technical platforms. It may be known to many individuals. I'm not saying that. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only genius, or I'm not the only person who knows this. But I'm sure that this is something not discussed in the trainings, and that's what the feedback that I've received so far. Okay, now let's understand what we are trying to talk here. Now, connectors. What connectors does is, so a bit of the technical understanding, these are basically running from the APIs. If you don't know API, it will take hardly 5 minutes to search the API word and try and understand this. And it should be very easy. It is a basic medium where we can connect with different applications. Okay, where the application offers let's say, create, write in different functionalities and read as different functionality across the application. So SharePoint has its own API, PowerApps conducted. We can do the API connection as well, but this is what the connector is doing. Connector in the backend is running API. If you don't know API, so apologies, but we can't cover it here. You can read it, have a quick brief in 5 minutes, but if you study the topic in deep, it's a big technical topic. It's a good topic to understand. Reach out to me on LinkedIn in case you want to know more about this. You want a session separately, we can take that up, okay? But not today. So it is running by the APIs. But what does it offer? It offers one of the two things, okay? It offers us, so, okay, let me quickly mark this with red. Okay. This is what connection is offering us. It is either offering us a data as part of that connection, and I'm connecting to, let's say, a SQL database, okay? Then in that case, it might return me a data or it give me an action to perform, okay? So either of the two things. It gives you either the data, okay, data with which you can work. So you can connect to a database, you get the database from there, but it can alternatively give you action where you, let's say, edit that data, okay, where you create new records. So connector works, connector only offers two things. Whether it will be either offering action or it will be offering some sort of data to go along with it. Okay, so that's pretty much regarding the connectors. It's an API-based connector that has been pre-built for us, which we consume either by getting the data from there or by doing some action via that connector. So, okay. For everyone's understanding, let's take a few examples of actions. Okay, so that will help you differentiate between what the data is. Data is simple. Okay, once you connect to a particular application, SharePoint itself, I want some data from the SharePoint. What I did was I created this connection, and that connection gave me data. Okay, so now that I have the data here. But now, what about the action part? So action could be anything, whether I want to edit that data, whether I want to pass that data, whether I want to update that data, or I want to delete that particular record. These are different actions, and these are in regards to the a database. But what if it is not a database? Let's take an example of Outlook here. Okay. Now, in case of Outlook, what could be the data? Data could be email or the contacts information. Contacts or let's say calendar. Okay. Calendar info. Either of these things becomes the data. What I do is I connected to the Outlook connector. What I do is I quickly call on to, this is the email. Okay, read me the emails from this particular person, read me the emails. That's how you get the data. Read me the calendar information for today. Read me the contacts information that are there. So that's how you get the data. But what all actions do you get? Actions could be, let's say, send an email, create an event. Okay, create a calendar event, create a one. I'm writing it bad, apologies for that. But I hope it is understandable to everyone. So, okay, send an email, create an event. That's how you do it. And then what you have, so this is the example of data in action. Now, I hope the connectors part is clear. If you have any question, post it in the chat, and I'm more than happy to address that. Okay, now let's quickly jump back to the presentation to see what we are jumping on to next. Now we have understood the data connectors part. We know data connection runs on the API. Okay, we discussed about a scenario where your application that you're using doesn't have a connector, readily consumable connector. Okay. What do we do in that case? Now, in that case, okay, one of the examples that and that I know and that I'm aware of, I've used it a couple of years back. It was a tool named as Flux. Okay, so Flux doesn't have a connector, and I'm saying again, I've not verified it. They might have created now. They might have submitted a new connector, but that could be a possibility. But my experience, I'm sharing my experience with you. The tool name was Flux. It is UX6. It's So this particular tool, what does this tool do? And all this configure. You can go and search on the net. But this tool did have the connector available that can be consumed easily by anyone. What we did there was there's an option to build custom connectors. Okay. Now, what do we need to how do we work on custom connectors? Okay, how do we get that custom connector created? Now, if you see an important part here, what we were doing was in the backend, we are saying these are running on the APIs. Okay. Similarly, if your application offers an API, okay, so whether it's something you have built on .NET or whatever it is, if your application has an active API, we can build a connector over it. Okay. So again, whether we get the data, that is the example of getting the data, the connection. If we do the get work, then data is giving, then that connector is giving some data. But let's say we want to update, we want to give an update action. Then in that case, we can use the relevant API to make that update. Okay, so that's how we work on the custom connectors, how we do it, and so on. It's a technical part where we have to do. Okay, so we are discussing the fundamentals here. So this is how the custom connectors is. It works on the APIs. But if you want to create one, you can again opt for the upcoming training where we discuss these things in details. But for now, fundamentals. Now, okay, this is now we have done this. Let's shift from PowerAutomate. Now we've understood how connector works. Now, where does the connector work, and where are we consuming it? We have discussed one example of PowerApps, but we can give an answer, please. We have taken up an example of PowerAutomate. Now let's understand. So we've taken an example of PowerApps, but let's take an example of PowerAutomate. Again, let's shift to the application we were talking about, the TaskMinder, the application we were talking about. Once we submit, okay, it goes and initiate the approval. Okay. Now, again, the approval running is a workflow. Okay. So what PowerAutomate, what does it offers is that PowerAutomate basically is an online workflow service from the Microsoft. All the workflows, a workflow could be a simple workflow of an approval workflow where you just send the request, whether it's get approved or rejected based on that, you do a certain action. Whether it's that, or it could be a complex workflow like 7-day cycle of an approval or a reminder, or let's say I want to track my progress on the tweets. I want to see if my email from my manager comes in. I want the Teams notification. So any workflow, any particular process you can imagine should be automated within the Microsoft. That's where you do. Okay, so within the Microsoft, you use the PowerAutomate service as the online workflow service to automate this, to get this done, to get the workflow done in the backend. We will see one example of how the workflow works. Let's jump to the example straight away. Let's see how these workflows are working and how different workflows we have here. Okay. Now, This is my environment where I'm working on. Let's focus on TaskMinder. Okay, so these are different workflows that are running behind in the TaskMinder that is making the entire working possible. You remember we discussed about you create certain manual tasks, so master tasks, and these master tasks will get automatically created based on the schedule they have put in. That is what is being achieved by this particular workflow. Okay. So let's quickly see what this workflow does. So in the back end, okay. Now, before I explain what this workflow does, let's quickly review what we have on the screen. What we have on the screen, this is the online editor for the PowerAutomate workflows. On the left-hand side, you can navigate to different areas, whether you're looking for my workflows, if you want to create one, or you want to consume different templates. Okay, so if you have a ready case that you want to review, you can quickly look for a template that is already existing for that thing, whether it's office. So this example, whether okay, in this case, what I want to do is I want to save whatever attachment is coming in directly to my OneDrive. So a template is a delivery. You can consume the template as well. This is using two connections, as it mentions. So it has one connection that it is using is OneDrive for Business, and the other one that is using is Office 365 Outlook. Okay. Now in this case, let's go back to the workflow. The very first step defines the trigger, what the trigger of that particular workflow is. Okay, let's understand what the trigger and the actions are. Okay, white space. Now, any process. Okay, it could be any process. Whether I am taking an approval, whether I'm reading email attachments, whether I am doing a tweet automation, whether I'm doing a social media automation where I put a post here and automatically it is replicated on the other side, whether I am getting the Jira details, whether I'm getting the Trello details, or whatever it is. Everything, every workflow has a trigger. What trigger defines is trigger defines when this particular workflow will start working. Trigger defines the start of this particular workflow. Okay, a trigger can be, let's say, a trigger can be an schedule trigger. Okay, where you set up a schedule to run it on daily basis. Okay, or monthly, or on 15 days, okay? Whatever it is, a scheduled one. Okay, then it could be anything that is automatic. Okay, automatic means let's see automatic. Okay? What do we mean by automatic? So by automatic is something email. We are tracking the emails. If an email comes in from a manager, I should get a notification directly on my Teams. Okay, that in this particular mail has come in, whether an important approval is coming. We generally segregate everything into the folders. If I, let's say, email comes in for a job failure, okay, one of my Azure data job has failed. I want to be notified of the Teams. I just don't want to have it on the Outlook only. Automatic trigger. These are the automatic trigger, the instances which are automatically happening, and we can simply define. Okay, so you wait for this instance to automatically occur, and then you take on the trigger from there. Okay, so automatic could be, let's say, new email, then record deletion. That's it. Okay. Then the trigger can be an instant where the trigger is a particular action or is being done on a particular instant, like a manual trigger, okay, like a button click, okay. Or let's say I want to do it on a selected email. I want that within the chat messages that I'm doing, within a text message, I want to take a certain action. Okay, so on that instant, what I want to do is defines the third trigger, that is the instant action. I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay. Now this instant, once we have defined, again, example button click. Okay. So trigger, the very first step is trigger. Trigger defines when the workflow will start. Now, what happens after that is a certain set of actions. Okay, that's what we are seeing here. Let me quickly get this on the screen. Okay, yes. So first is the first step, that is the trigger. We are saying that you run it on a frequency of daily basis. Okay, so this is an example of a schedule trigger where we are defining that you run on daily basis. Okay, now after that, what we do is we have certain actions. Okay, once this particular workflow has been initiated, what it should do? It should go and get all the items which are to be created, for which the new task needs to be created. Okay, so what there are certain variables that I'm declaring. Variables, again, variables can be of type string, integer, float, or something where you want to save information further. So, okay, if you are non-technical background, take it as an example, a placeholder where you can put a certain value and use it later down in your workflow. Okay, so it could be of type string, boolean, integer, float, object, array, anything. Okay, so it can be based on there. So there are declared certain variables where I'll be storing those values, which I'll be consuming later. Then what I'm doing is I am getting the items with no last creation date. So what I'm doing in the backend is every time an action is created, okay, then let's say every time when a task is created from the master task list, there is a last action date. Okay, when that particular workflow was run and when the task for that particular master task was last created, so that we can track that information and have that if no task has been created. Let's say assume there's one master task which is to be run on a daily basis. It sees that there's no last task that has been created for that particular master task. Then it knows, yes, today we have to do it. I have to. This could happen if someone did an entry in between of the day, and so tomorrow they want to start. So for those items, I'll pull in and collect all the information and create that task for it. Then I get the renew task. Okay, the last date is there, but the last date when it was created plus after how many days it needs to be repeated. That is, let's say there's a weekly task. I've created today. After 7 days, it should be recreated. Okay. Then in that case, the last task date plus the last task date plus the renew task where I need to see whether that particular task was created or not on that particular date. So whether the current renew date has come in or not. So what I've done, I've got all the tasks. Then I'm seeing what is the new renew date. I'm adding from the last date. Adding the number of days after which it should be repeated, and then if it is to be created today or not. So, and then this is an action. This is again condition again is an action. So these are different actions. When it is done, okay, it says yes, it needs to be created. It will get the approval details and all the other details and create a task form. And then at the end, it is updating the last task date. I hope this workflow is clear how the workflow works. This is a good example. Let's, for the sake of your learning, let's create one example. Let's create a new workflow. Okay. Now, as I explained earlier, your workflow depends upon when it will be triggered. Okay, so how this workflow works depends upon when it is being triggered. Okay, what workflow does. So okay, it is mentioned automated cloud flow means, as we took an example here for the automated cloud flow of this one. So automated cloud when a new email is coming and so on. So let's quickly see automated cloud flow example. So these are different triggers when a new response is submitted, when a new item is created, when a task is assigned to be the planner and so on. These are example of the automated cloud flow triggers. Similarly, we have instant cloud flow as we discussed manual triggers or the Power Apps. Within the Power Apps, I'm doing a certain instance that is triggering this workflow, or it could be a scheduled one, okay, or it could be a manual one. We'll come to the so desktop flows and process advisor or something. Let's since we are discussing fundamental functions, let's keep it out of the scope. It's a bit more complex. Okay, but like desktop workflows. So PowerAutomate also offers PowerAutomate Desktop. Okay, which basically helps you the task local to your machine. Okay, now. Let's take an example. There's a legacy application. Okay, generally banks and the financial institutions are the old institution. Let's say medical institutions like bigger one. One I'm naming one in India. Could be AIMS in your country. Could be different. So one of the biggest institutions in India is AIMS. It may have a software. I'm not saying it has. It may have, or any bank or any hospital, they may have a legacy software that doesn't offer API. Okay, that is residing on-premise and that is residing on an on-premise server and doesn't have a connection to the outside world. How do we automate tasks on them? We are discussing cloud flows. Okay. Now within cloud, we create connection, we connect to different applications. But what about uh, the applications that are there on the that are running on the legacy machine, doesn't have an API and are sitting on the on-premise as well. Now, for this, we need to for that we need a PowerAutomate desktop, an application that runs locally on our desktop and helps us automate different graphic user actions that we do. Different, let's say, whether I'm doing a sum calculation here and there, whether it's a sum calculation or it may be, let's say, reading a data from a specific part of the screen. All the actions within the screen can be recorded. That's how recorded and automated. That's how the Power Automate desktop works. It falls under the category of robotic process automation. I hope that is clear. Now, but that is desktop. What do we have related to this desktop flow? What is this desktop flow doing on cloud? Now there could be a scenario where let's say there's a desktop task, but what I want to do is what I want is this desktop task should be auto scheduled. Okay? It's not just in the Power Automate desktop, you go and execute that particular workflow. You have to go to the you have to go to the desktop application and execute that workflow. But what if I want to automate that part where I don't have to go and schedule it? That's where the desktop comes in. Process advisor, what it do is basically you tell him the process and gives you can watch one of our videos from our YouTube channel where we have explained this process advisor, and it will hardly take 5 minutes to understand how this process advisor works. Cool. Let's quickly create one instant flow where you're taking the manual one. You define your flow name here. So, upskilling testing. Okay. So I go and quickly create that particular workflow. Initially, what it will come, it will only come with the trigger. It will only come with the trigger of that flow. Okay, so if I go ahead and save this particular one, it will say minimum of one action is mandatory. So on the next step, that's what where we have the actions. Okay, now on the first row, what you see is different services which we can consume. Okay, so all are different services. These services have connectors available to us, which we can create a connection and consume these services. Let's take an example of Outlook. So what we have here is Outlook 365 and Outlook.com. Outlook.com is your personal Outlook, and this is your business account. So let's say we take the business one. What it has is it has these many actions to offer, whether it's creating a new contact, whether it's creating creating an event and so on. So creating an event is an example of an action. Okay. So, or let's say, let's take an example of create calendars. I want to see all my calendars that are available, and then I want to see the further data. That is an example of getting the data. As we said, Outlook connection here offering you data or action. Now, let's say I just want to quickly, I'm giving you one example, simple, okay? I want to send an email, okay? I'll be sending this email to myself. Test. Test. Okay. I'll put in the same message in the body as well. Okay. Let's quickly see this. This time we'll see it. On the top, we do different options where we can do an undo an action, we can redo an action, we can put in the comments as well. For any particular step, let's say I want to add a new comment here for my colleague. Don't delete. Simple. I can. Let's quickly do, okay, flow checker on the top right shows you if there is any particular error within your workflow. Okay, and also, yes, during a trigger, we can also define if you want some inputs from the end user. Okay, if you want, let's say we want, okay, your name. Okay, on the name, you want the end user to enter our name, you will be sending this name here. Okay. Now each action or trigger on the top, okay, the outputs of them can be consumed a subsequent action. Okay. So let's say on this one we are expecting a name. Okay. So yes, we have taken name input, and what we have done is implement. And what I'll do is I'll quickly test this one. What it is doing here is it is creating a connection to get that connector authenticated. Okay. So once it is done, I need to enter the name, okay, Shitij, and then run the flow. What it should do is it should immediately send me an email. Okay. That's how workflow works. A simple explanation of what it does. We can do a lot more. How we do it, I've already shown you in this particular in a separate workflow that we found out. So TaskMinder is an approval workflow. There are 4 or 5 different workflows that are running in the backend for this one. So this is the email that I've came in just now. Okay. Cool. Any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat. Let's quickly do this. This is done that we've already covered the PowerAutomate part. Again, it's a workflow engine that is running that runs in the backend and gives us the flexibility to do any action. Okay, whether it's connected to different applications, whether it is passing data across different applications, or it is an approval or whatever it may be. Okay, so all these can be done using PowerAutomate. Now let's quickly jump to our second topic of the day, that is PowerApps. Okay, now what we have seen is what connectors is, how the data flows across, how data is flowing, how we are getting access to do, how what we get from different applications, how we get the data. But what about the front application? How the end user look and feel, okay? How end user get to communicate. See, connectors help you get the data across. PowerAutomate workflows do the backend engine. If you are sending the approval and so on, the backend workflow is being run on the PowerAutomate. But what about the front end? What does the end user gets to do as terms of look and feel? That's what we saw in our application. So this is built on PowerApps. Okay, so this is completely built on the PowerApps. Again, as we showed, this is mobile friendly as well. The same application can work on the desktop as well as the mobile. So this is showing the mobile view for the one of the iOS device that is labeled iPhone 12 Pro. Okay. So again, this is can be adjusted with the screen size. So if I, let's say, do this, it can run on the iPad as well. So it supports different screen sizes. It will adjust the screen, adjust the size according to the area available and so on. Okay, so this is built on the PowerApps. Now let's close this. Now let's quickly see what this PowerApps is all about. So PowerApps gives you, okay, before I jump to this particular PowerApps, let me quickly explain you one thing. So within PowerApps, we have 2 types of applications. Okay, what you are seeing today and what you will experience today is Canvas application. But there's another application named as model driven. Canvas gives you an open approach, whereas if you have a blank slate and you can design your application from the ground up without having to worry about, without having any restrictions or anything as such. So as we see, this is a complete custom design that we have done for application as per the client need. We show the task here, due date, and so on. So we have the complete flexibility of to do. Within the model driven are much faster. It has a fixed. We'll discuss the model driven in details tomorrow. Just giving you a brief. With the model driven example, we'll go with the data verse. That is why we are discussing tomorrow. But let me give you a quick brief. It has the certain design restrictions. It is built on So you define the data structure first, you define how your data will look like, and so on. And the model driven is built on the top of that. Whereas the Canvas application, it's a blank slate. It's a white screen for you, where you go on and design your application from the ground up and define what all things you want to use within that application. Okay. Give me 1 second, please. Okay. Now, no. What we are doing here? Yes. Canvas application. So let's quickly jump to the Canvas screen now. So this is how the Canvas editor looks like. You have on the left-hand side. So this menu on the left-hand side shows you different sections. The first section is where you can see different screens within the application. So I may jump from my screen to my task, new task, whatever. These are different screens. Okay, these are called as different screens. Then if you go on plus, that offers different components to add, whether it's a text box or whatever it is. Okay, let me add a new screen first, and let me show you. This is how the canvas comes in, blank slate. Okay, you start from scratch. You start to define how your application looks. You have your own flexibility to design the application in interest. From this blank slate, it can go to this. Okay. Now, on the blank slate, what you can do, there are different components, whether you want a label component, whether you want a button component, you can just simply click on this, you add the component. Then on the right hand side, what you have is the properties pane. Okay. Here you have different properties that you can adjust, whether it's the width of it, whether this should be in the display mode, edit mode. And then you have some advanced properties where you can write in the formulas as well. This is low code completely. You drag and drop in and do it. But again, low code is no code. Low code doesn't mean it is no code. Okay. Low code doesn't mean it is no code. It does have some sort of coding involved, but that is very basic. It's as easy as some Excel formulas. Okay, so you can simply again, this is an introduction of the tool. How the tool works and everything is a different story altogether. That is where we go into further details later down the line. Okay. Now, this is the properties pane. Then on the left hand side, what you have different data connections that you are consuming. So this is a connection to the master cycle list within the SharePoint. This is connection to the Office 365 users. And this is a connection to the task list. And then there are some collections as well. Variable collections are there. Again, not a topic that can be covered in the fundamental case. Let's quickly see if there are any media items. You can have some media items like a picture or so. You can see the loading icon here. You can see the sbTaskMinder logo here. And then do you have any workflow associated to it? If you remember within the workflow, instant workflow, we saw one action where it was written, one trigger where it was written as PowerApps. So if we are defining any workflow with that PowerApps trigger where it is expecting any instant action from the PowerApps, that's where this particular workflow will show up. Okay, so one of the workflow requires us to execute a manual action. And in this case, it's the attachment upload. So once we click on the upload button, this workflow triggers. Then on the left hand side, you have the formula bar. This is something new. All my tech friends will be very glad to have this. It's a pain to manage variables. Otherwise, it was a long process to view them. But yes, now we have this here. Again, all these updates are something you can easily find if on our YouTube channel we make sure that all these constant updates are made available to you as and when they are in the market. So do follow us on all the social media platforms. Don't forget to follow us on the social media platforms to get this updated, to keep yourself updated. And when there are some advanced tools, and there's a search button. Again, not digging much deeper into what this is, but yes, from a blank state to this application acts as the front user interface. It works on mobile, works on iPad, any app, any device which has an active browser connection, it will work for you. That's how the Power Apps works. Again, this is camera application. The model ribbon will be coupling. Question, anyone? Drop it in the chat. Okay, we'll be more than happy to answer that. Okay, now let's go back quickly to our presentation now. Okay, here we are. Now, what's next? We have covered the Power Apps. Now, the next vertical is, again, I hope this is clear so far. Previously, what we have discussed is PowerAutomate, workflow engine, data connections that helps you let the data flow across different applications from PowerAutomate, Power Apps, or any third-party application, the third application that is not part of the Power Platform. So we have covered so far. Then is an important pillar. This is something I'm expecting most of the audience to know. Okay, that is the Power BI, the business intelligence tool, ranked as one of the leading tool that helps you make sense of the data. So this particular report reflects the data that is there within our TaskMinder application. What you can do is you can easily do a department search, whether it's an HR, whether it's an IT, whether it's a legal. It gives you a holistic view of what is happening across different departments. Then you have individual tasks responsibility. Even I can see, okay, let's say someone has submitted. Okay, so this is submitted, and which department it is, and so on. Every filter is connected to each other. This particular report is giving us a holistic view of what all is there. Okay, now. What you see on my screen is the Power BI desktop, the Power BI desktop application. So all the development work related to Power BI is done on the Power BI desktop application, okay, where you make all the changes. So let me quickly give you a walkthrough of this Power BI desktop as well. On the left-hand side, there are three options that are there to us. So the first option is the dashboard, where you define the dashboard, where you create the dashboard. And the second option is the data table, where you see all the data. And then the third option is the model view, where you see your current data set. Okay, so within Power BI, how does if we are just connected to one single data source, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make it to the business intelligence tool. Sorry. And generally, what happens is there are multiple data sources. It could be coming from SQL, it could be coming from Oracle, or it could be coming from ServiceNow, whatever it is. So different data is coming from different data sources, and that data source, when combined together in a Power BI report, reflects a data set. Okay, so data set is built up of multiple queries, which may be getting data from a single source or multiple data sources. Okay, then what we do is we define the relationship between each and every table within that data set. So these are different table on the query where you get the data. So this is a data view where you can see different queries and the data coming. Queries or query table, that is completely up to you what you want to call it. And we define the relationship between them. Again, the relationship information is stored at the data set level. Data set multiple data sources combined on a single data source. So each Power BI report in the backend has a data set of its own, or it is running on a shared data set. Okay, so one data set can be used in multiple Power BI reports, and one Power BI should have a connection to one particular data set to run. Okay, that is where the data metadata is stored. Okay, the data about the data. By metadata, I mean the data about the data, how the structure of the data looks, how the relationship between the different table works. If the structure is changed, if you introduce a new column, if you remove an existing column, that breaks up the metadata, or that breaks up the data set model, and that needs to be fixed as well. Okay. So there are many different functions that you can take across, whether it's about changing whether it's about changing the let's say data type of a particular uh, column, or whatever it is, different properties you can go across and play with that. Now, if that is done, then on the right hand side, what we have is the filters, visualizations, and data filters. Now filters within the Power BI report, filter works at three different levels. One is a filter that is applied across all the pages. Okay, so whether this is a single page report, but on the bottom I click on add, and I can add multiple pages. Okay, so from my experience, the biggest report that I've done had somewhere around 50 different pages. That is not economical, but it was a business requirement. But yes, that's what I've done, and that's where you can generally go. Okay, now that's one thing. Okay, so filter one across all the pages. Then you have a filter specific to that particular page. Okay, so I have applied a filter that runs on this particular page, and the third level is running on a specific visual. Okay, rather than running on the page or on the pages, filter can be applied on the specific visual aspect. That's how three different filters works. Each visual, if you select any, so on the right hand side, these are the list of available visuals that you can consume within your Power BI report. And you can also add the Power Apps within that particular report to take the data input of PowerAutomate to execute a workflow based on the data that is in the Power BI report. Schedule a session with us to know more about how that works. We'll be more than happy to explain that. And then these are the different properties that are being explained. So x-axis, what field will come under x-axis. It's a simple drag and drop. You take up the field, you put them there. That's how this works. Okay. And then on the top, you have different options whether you want to get data from any particular data source. So if I click here, so it gives me different data sources from where I can get the data. Then this is the data hub items with different Power BI data sets as we're talking about. And data marks, again, I'll scope for this particular one. This is the button that, let me expand this. This is the button with which you can have the manual, some of the manual data entries. You can also go ahead and transform the data. You can refresh the data as well. You can add a new visual. So different options here. Insert, whether you want to insert a new page, new visual, whether you want to have a Q&A, or whether you have to have the key insights. Okay, so key influences. Key influences is it basically tells you information about the data when you ask the question in general language. Okay, that's how key influencer works. And then we have the page related reports and different components you can add here. Again, we can change the theme of the report and so on. We can define it for the how. We can see how it looks on the mobile layout, whether we want to show the grid lines or not, bookmarking selection. Again, out topic. Just understand what this tool does. Basically, we cover the fundamentals of policy, but we'll someday into the details as well. So for the time being, just understand this is the tool that helps you build business intelligence reports on the top of it. Okay. Then if you see here the different departments, these are what are called as the slices or the filters. You can call it anything. This is one of the table visuals that we have. So okay, let's see this one. What I want is I want a pie chart. I simply click on this pie chart. Okay, then what I want to do is, let's say, count of approvals. Okay, and I want to make it testing, and then I want to, let's say, see the status. Okay, separated by status. It's as easy as it is. Okay, but again, it can go complex up to any level. Okay, so this is a single page report. As I told you, I've gone to 50 pages as well and so on and so on. But there are a lot many things we can do here. Again, what any particular business case that you have with you, which you want to discuss with us, which you think you need a free consultation on. Again, go to our website, book time with us, and we'll be more than happy to do it. Cool. That is Power BI desktop for us. Now, why am I saying Power BI desktop again and again? So Power BI desktop is meant for the development purpose, but then there are other Power BI services as well that comes into the picture. The other one is the Power BI Online. Okay, so this is meant now. What we were doing was we were preparing the data in the Power BI desktop. Power BI online service, Power BI Online, and the Power BI Mobile is the medium to consume that data. Okay, is the medium to consume that data, and what we do here is on the okay. So let me quickly give you a walkthrough of this. So if you come to app.powerbi.com, that's how you access your Power BI Online. You have on the left hand side of this, if you see, you have workspaces, apps, different data hubs that you are there, browse different reports that you want to browse through. Okay, so if you have multiple reports, they can be combined together in one single app. So that example, let's say human resources department have a hydration report. They have a new onboarding report, and they have attendance report. All of them can be combined into one single application for the end user consumption as well. But now, again, that is apps. But now we are on workspaces. What are different workspaces? Okay, let me quickly explain to you what a workspace is. Workspace is a area where you want to restrict the data. Okay, and the restriction parameters or that area parameters, whether how you want to restrict the data here, it basically falls a small. It's like a locker within a bank. Okay, so you have a locker. Your bank can have multiple lockers. Okay, but one locker items are not visible to the other locker. That's how the concept is. The workspace is that particular locker for you. You're different. So defining a locker in here or the workspace here can be depending upon the business scenario, whether you can have a development, all the development reports sit in one workspace, and then the production sits in the production workspace, or you can what you can have is a department-wise workspace. So whether you have a HR workspace, finance, the data is not visible to them. Only the person who has access to that particular workspace get to access those reports. So each workspace will have your content and the data set. Okay, so content is a report, and then you have the data sets. Okay, so let's say these are different reports that I have. One of them is sbTaskMinder, and let me quickly open a couple of these reports so that I can And what I do on daily basis is I come and review whether the IT department, whether all the department stars are going across fine or not. And also at the same time, there's another report that we have here where we are tracking the data as to how many refund requests are processed, have been processed or not. So let's say I want to track these visuals on daily basis, but in going to each report every day doesn't make sense for me. So what I do here is I have an option here. If you see the pin icon, I can do it as a dashboard. I can have a dashboard defined for me. Okay, so let's say I have a daily view. Okay, dashboard. What I do is, in this case, on the daily view, I pin this particular visual here. Also, what I do is I wait for this particular report and I pin this visual in the daily report. Okay, so I can pin to an existing and do a new one as well. Okay. Now, if I go back to my workspace, refresh this, what I'll see is the dashboard that I have for myself, my content with the green icon. What I'll see is a dashboard. So the dashboard shows both the icon, both the visuals data coming from different reports. That's yeah, and use cases can be endless. Okay. You know what are different data you want to see on the top of the day. You can have different dashboards based on different themes and so on. Now the question comes in. Okay, I what I do is what I come on and on daily basis. I say ID, how many items are overdue. Okay, this is what I do on daily basis. Okay, I don't want to come and do multiple clicks and get to this. Then in that case, what I can do is I can bookmark this. So okay, so I can add it as a personal bookmark. ID overdue. Okay, so I say this. I don't make it a default one. So let's say I clear this visual, I clear this visual. I can quickly access any of my bookmarks directly from here. So if I click on this one, it saves my refresh settings and everything here, and I can consume this bookmark any questions and please post it in the Q&A section. I'll be more than happy. Okay, so this is what the PowerBI online is. Okay, now within the Power BI online, what again a basic introduction of the tool only. I believe there has been some sort of disconnect, so apologies for that. Okay. And we are back again. Okay. Apologies for the gap that has been there, that came in there. It was a technical glitch or regular disturbance. I'm not sure. Okay. Now this is what we have done within the workspaces. So important question comes in: how do I manage the permissions? Okay. So within this, what we do is we can manage the permission at the report level or at the workspace level as well. So I can bring in and add a user to this particular workspace where I can grant them. Let me Yes, I can grant them access to this particular workspace, or I can go to a specific report and then do it. There's another important thing, important topic that you should cover, that is role level security. Okay, as in you can define for which particular role gets to see what data. You can define the exact filter. Okay, let's say I have. Sales data for across India. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to see the northern region sales manager or the area sales manager should be able to see their own data only. That's where you put a sales filter based on that particular email or that particular designation. Okay. So you find in the connecting user email. Okay. Then you see, okay, this user is the area sales manager for this, and then you put in the role accordingly. Okay, I have covered it from the high level, very high level. Not going to the details, but within the modeling, manage roles is where you do this. Okay, you create different roles. Let's say a new role, and then you define the filter. Okay, a very high level. That's how you work on this particular one. Any questions, concerns, please do let me know. Okay. Before we close this for the question and answer, let me quickly cover a few one of the few important things that generally don't get skipped by everyone, but since we are with sbPowerDev, we do it the right way. Okay? So our automate. We'll discuss the pricing of how the pricing model works for this. Okay. Again, if you need any help or any consultation in terms of pricing and everything, you can always reach out to us. But a very high level view of how the pricing works will be something being explained here now. Okay. Pricing is not everyone's cup of tea. Everyone doesn't want to know it. Everyone is not interested. They want to leave it in IT. But I would recommend that you understand the pricing model, and that can help you a lot. Okay, and that can help you make very wise decisions. Okay. Now, and let me quickly, okay, before this, within the PowerAutomate slide, if you remember, what you must have seen here is, in some of them it is written as premium. Okay. So some of the data connectors that are available to us are as the premium connector, some of the standard. So the difference between the standard and the premium connector, standard is basically included in the default Microsoft licenses that you have. You don't need to pay any additional amount of money over and above of that. But in case of premium, you need to have a PowerApps, PowerAutomate or workflow license, or any adequate license that gets you access to these premium services. And there's a catch. Even after securing a premium connection, it's not sure. It may be a third-party application that has that doesn't have a premium connection here, but to consume their connection, you have to register with them. So that is one. So that is one thing you should be aware of. Whether if you don't go by just okay, it is not showing as the it is not showing as the premium. It's probably included. Add that connection. Understand whether the connection backend in any which ways is connected to a paid service or not. Read about the connection details and so on. Okay. So yes. Quickly back to the topic. Now within the PowerAutomate, so basic set of PowerAutomate actions is already included in the license that you have. See Microsoft 365 licenses that you will have, it will be included in that. But there are certain limitations like premium connector you can't use. Then yes. So then in that case, you can't use Process Advisor. You have certain restrictions on daily runs, how many runs you can do, and so on and so on. So all if it is a basic work, it will work. Okay. So if it is an approval that you need to take, as a matter of fact, within SP TaskMinder, we don't have any particular premium connection. It is running on the standard connections. Okay, so all that entire work doesn't require any premium license, but there could be scenarios where you need one. Then in that case, you have a per user plan. Okay, where you within the PowerApps you have a per user plan where you for a particular single user you can have multiple workflows running through. General case scenario, what happens is let's say there's a premium service that I need to connect to. What I'll do is I'll put up a middle connection, okay, which is talking to the premium services for me, okay. Rather than giving premium connection to all my users, what I do is I have a one service that connects to the premium connection, and I divert all my data across that particular across the workflows that are running with that particular account. I hope I'm making sense. If not, please put it in the question and answer. Okay. Then, if you remember, with the Power Automate desktop, we discussed either we do it manually, go and run that particular workflow that we have created in Power Desktop, or we go and just go ahead with, let's say we want to do it online. We want it to be automated as well. Nobody needs to go and click on that particular workflow. That is what is called as attended and unattended. Attended is you want to go and click and get that done. Unattended is where you don't have to click on that. Okay, we'll come to it understand better. Per user plan. So whereas I've given a scenario where I've taken a service account in between. I've given that user I've designed the workflow in such a way the data flow across that particular the workflows hosted with that particular ID, and we get the advantage of using premium connections and other higher runs and everything. So each action that we add is counted as a run. So they are limited. You can go in the details about it. But there could be one scenario where I need only one workflow, but it is being accessed by my entire organization. Okay, that is a premium workflow. It's a balance between how many employees do I have. I can simply go for this one per flow connection, which allows premium connection. And all those users clicking or consuming that particular workflow doesn't need a premium license separately. Attended and unattended RP that we have done unattended RPA again is an additional service cost that we need to go and post RPA with separate license fees. If you're using, like we initially discussed about the invoicing AI, if you're using that, then AI builder has a separate cost that needs to incur. So this was Power Automates. Let's quickly look at the PowerApps pricing as well. Again, I'm taking on a very high level. You can always consult us. You can always drop in a request with us if you need a detailed understanding of these licenses. Okay, a similar thing, connections works in the PowerApps, the Power Automate as well. So within the PowerApps, we might need a premium connection. That's where that particular subscription plan helps us. Or we might need to induce an AI builder within that application. Then in that case, per user plan separately or plan separately. It could be a per user or per app. What is different per user? Per user, as the name says, per user per month you pay amount, and that particular user gets to access to these premium services. Whereas in per user per app per month. So the difference is 1/4 cost. Okay, so per app in this case. All the users accessing this application only. Accessing this application only will get to, apologies, I think there was some connection breakage in between. Again, connection, there's something wrong with the connection, apologies. The per app plan, if you see, there's a difference of, the per app plan is 1/4. So if you have only one single connection and multiple, so if you have, let's say, multiple, it's a balance whether you have one single connection or one single application or multiple applications and multiple users. Based on how many users and how many applications you have, you go for a per user or per app plan based on exact scenario that you can go for. Or in this case, you also have an option to pay as you go plan, whereas you don't need to buy a specific one. You initially want to test it whether that particular applications gets enough usage across your organization. Only then you want to commit to any particular monthly fixed cost for them. Then in that case, you can go initially with the pay as you go plan, where you don't have to come at any cost. Whatever it is, you pay with the data. Okay. Whatever you're consuming, you're paying. This covers the high-level differences of what is the difference, different structure, what different things are available in different licenses. Again, Database will be discussing tomorrow. All-driven apps will be discussing. Again, AI Builder has a PowerPages. Again, we'll discuss that once we're discussing the PowerPages. Otherwise, AI Builder is there, and then AI Builder has a separate cost as we discussed. For each application, we have a fixed. If you're consuming any particular AI Builder service, you have to pay an additional sum of $500. I hope I was not too fast. I tried to finish. I tried to cover most I can. But again, we are talking fundamentals here only. We are not talking the in-depth details of the technical details of these applications. So please let us know if you face any issue. Contact us. Since we are almost out of the service, what I'll do is all the questions that have been put in by the participants, I'll get hold of the email IDs and respond back to you separately. I don't want everyone hanging along this presentation for that long. Thank you so very much for all 45 of you to attend this session. It was a great session. I want to do these sessions more and more. Personally, I want to upskill all of you. Stay connected with us on this journey, and probably will learn much more than what we expect. Thank you. Thank you.